My name is Stanimir Markov, and I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Runecast. Today we'll be covering optimizing and securing VMware environments with Runecast Analyzer. And I'll tell you a little bit about the story of Runecast, but before we begin, I want to thank also SJT Consulting, our partner, for co-organizing this event here. The event is recorded, so if you want to share it with somebody else after that, we're going to send the recording out. All right, a little bit of the story of Runecast. So we started Runecast back in 2014, and together with my co-founders, we used to work for IBM for about 10 years. And we started working with VMware technologies at the time when VMware was used just for test and development purposes. So at some point, everybody started virtualizing even their most critical systems. And of course, that VMware layer then became more and more critical. You have to really make sure that it's properly configured, secure, and that it will not fail, because then many of your services will fail. We built a big VMware center of excellence within IBM, and we had hundreds of customers. And on a daily basis, we had to do a lot of firefighting. So we had to solve a lot of issues which were seemingly undiagnosable. In more than 90% of the cases, when we're solving some PSOD, like a server outage or some other strange problem, we ended up reading a knowledge base article or some other online article that was describing the root cause of the problem. But usually this took us hours or sometimes days or even weeks to find out what the root cause is. And in the meantime, there was a service outage, and it was really unnecessary time spent on troubleshooting and usually quite stressful time as well. So we figured out that if we can somehow leverage all of this human readable knowledge, which is available online, but only used reactively, we can proactively discover these seemingly undiagnosable issues, bugs, best practice violations, vulnerabilities, and so on, before they cause a problem. So this is exactly what we did with Runecast Analyzer. In 2015, we released Runecast Analyzer version 1, which was supporting just vSphere. And at this date, we are covering not only vSphere, but NSXV, NSXT, vSAN, Horizon, and also services or products outside the VMware scope as well. We support AWS public cloud and also open source Kubernetes, and we keep adding more and more technologies to that support list. Runecast Analyzer is a proactive hybrid cloud management solution. It's using AI-assisted knowledge parsing, and we have a patented rules engine that uses almost 3,000 rules that we've created to date to discover some potential risks in your environment that could cause an outage, security incompliance, or some other issues. We keep adding more and more rules because our AI-assisted knowledge parser is crawling these sources of knowledge like knowledge bases, documentation, blogs, social media, security hardening guides, and so on continuously. So there's new and new information coming up. So on weekly basis, we release updates, usually every Tuesday, with the latest rules out there. Sometimes we release even within less than 24 hours in case there is a critical security vulnerability. Like in the last few weeks, there were a couple of VMSAs published by VMware. We added those rules to our database within less than 12 hours from the moment they were published. So our customers that are running Runecast Analyzer, usually on premises, they can be protected against the latest known issues out there. It's really quick and easy to deploy Runecast. So for those that haven't tried it yet, it's a 1 gig OVA that you can download from our website. You deploy it. It's just one virtual machine. There's no additional agents that you need to deploy. You can just connect it to your vCenters. And analysis should complete in less than 2 minutes, depending on the size of your environment. So it's really a small footprint, and it's very secure because it runs on-prem. It doesn't upload any information over to the internet, and it helps you proactively detect known VMware issues, gives you direct recommendations how to mitigate them. It automates security compliance against many security compliance standards, and today I will demonstrate a bit more on ISO 27001. This is probably the most popular standard that we've heard from our customers that they need to comply to. And we introduced it just a few weeks ago. It's really been received with really great feedback so far. But keep in mind that we also support PCI DSS, BSI, IT Grundschutz, CIS, NIST, and many other standards. So Runecast helps you continuously scan against all the security controls of those standards, and it keeps also all the historical data. So if you have an auditor and they ask you for the security compliance posture from the last year, for example, you have out-of-the-box report for that. Then we will cover also a very important thing Runecast Analyzer does. It's analyzing your servers, I/O devices, drivers, firmware against the information in the hardware compatibility list. So it helps you discover any incompatible drivers, firmware, I/O devices, or BIOS levels before they cause some problem. Because if you have some incompatibilities, you can easily run into purple screen of death or some other strange issues that are really hard to troubleshoot. Not only can you see the current incompatibilities in your environment, but it also helps you with upgrades, because you can just select the target version of ESXi that you want to upgrade to, and then it will quickly give you the overview whether you'll be fully compatible in case you decide to upgrade, or if there are some considerations, maybe some firmware you need to update, or maybe replace some I/O device before you decide to upgrade. So that can save you not only a lot of time, but really a lot of trouble and potential service outage. For those that haven't tried, again, it's OVA, so it shouldn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes to deploy. Set up the IP address, connect it to vCenters. Admin access is not required, there's read-only and a few other privileges just to cover 100% of the functionality. For if any of you have SAP HANA on vSphere, or maybe using pure storage with vSphere, we've implemented best practice analysis for SAP HANA workloads on vSphere, which are, as you know, quite specific. It's really this monster VMs that have to be configured in a very specific way. So Runecast not only scans against the standards vendor best practices, but we started implementing more specific best practices for such workloads. If you have really large environment or very specific setup, or maybe you're an MSP that have dedicated setups, like you could use the enterprise console. That's a dashboard that you can enable on any Runecast Analyzer instance, and you can connect it to all of your Runecast Analyzers if you have more than one, and collect all the information in one single dashboard. Usually you would not need more than one Runecast Analyzer instance. Our biggest customer has 13,000 ESXi hosts. It's a humongous environment, and they're using one Runecast Analyzer instance to manage all of those. As mentioned, we support vSphere, vSAN, NSXV, NSXT, Horizon, also AWS, various services there, and open source Kubernetes as well. All of it is in one product, so you can I'll show you where you can connect if you have more than one system. Runecast is typically deployed on-prem, although since last week we have an option to deploy it on the AWS Marketplace as an AMI. So you have that flexibility, and it's important to remember that it doesn't need internet connectivity to work. It's just recommended for you to update the rule set on regular basis. So as we release weekly updates, you can either connect it via secure proxy to our central repository so that it can update itself automatically without any human intervention. Or you can set up local repository, or simply download an offline update file from your Runecast.com profile, attach it to the Runecast Analyzer virtual machine, and perform the updates this way. So we have around 2,800 rules at the moment. This number keeps growing, and yeah, it's really important to keep your appliance updated all the time so your environment is protected also at all times. We have quite a few case studies on our websites, and customers from various different verticals. In fact, Germany is our #1 market. We have quite a few customers in Germany, and our customers are reporting 75 to 80% saved IT operations time and costs, 80% to 100% reduction of the incidents on their VMware environments when started to use Runecast. And also, many of our customers are using Runecast Analyzer to ensure they have successful security compliance audits, especially when it comes to their VMware environment. And I wanted to mention one customer in particular, Notino, that's been a customer for over a year now. Before Runecast, they have had a couple of main problems that they wanted to solve. One is they're using Horizon heavily, and they were often coming, well, they often had some issues that they had to troubleshoot with Horizon. And the error messages that came from Horizon itself were pretty generic. So it was pretty much impossible to really get to the root cause, and they had to try like a million different things. And sometimes it happened that even with the help of VMware support, some of these issues dragged for 2 months. And that's something that they easily solved with Runecast, because we cover knowledge base articles, best practices, basically known issues that are documented out there, and we scan the configuration and logs to discover them in your environment. So that really helped them to eliminate such long troubleshooting cycles. The other thing is that regularly almost they had purple screen of deaths, and they had to open tickets to VMware support quite often for investigation. In many cases, the root cause was some driver firmware incompatibility. So obviously, once they started using Runecast Analyzer, and they could see if they have any incompatible drivers firmware, and also anytime they upgrade their environment, they could take proactive actions to make sure it never happens. That's when they reduce these type of incidents to 0. So I'm going to switch to the demo environment. Just wanted to tell you that you could run a 14-day trial of Runecast, and feel free, of course, always to reach out to our partners from SJT. This is the email address here. Maybe in the end of the call, Sven, you can share some additional information. But for now, let me switch over to our online demo. So here is the initial login screen to Runecast Analyzer. And by the way, for those of you that just want to play with the interface and don't necessarily need to deploy Runecast Analyzer today, you can actually do that if you just go to demo.runecast.com. So we have online demo there. You can just log in, and there you go. You have basically the Runecast Analyzer interface. So I would encourage you to do that and just explore the interface for yourself. All right, but this is the initial login screen that you get. I will log in with the default username and password. And I didn't show you the actual deployment, but the deployment again is an OVA. So the main thing you have to do there is just select the IP address for your OVA. Once you deploy, you will be welcomed by a configuration screen that will encourage you to connect to your vCenters and other endpoints, but you can always do it also from settings. So go to settings, add your vCenters here. If you have NSX managers, add your NSX managers, NSXT as well, and also this is where you add your Horizon connection servers. It is recommended that if you have a Horizon connection server that has one or more related vCenters, to add all of the vCenters that are associated with the particular Horizon connection server, because this will certainly improve the analysis results. Some of the KBs or known issues and rules that we've created, they are extracting information both from the Horizon connection server settings and also from the vCenter and ESXi and virtual machines settings. So having all that information is really useful to proactively discover some issues. Of course, if you have AWS and Kubernetes, you can add connection to them here as well. The initial logins, initial configuration screen will also assist you in setting up regular analysis. So you could have daily or hourly, or maybe a few times during the week, you could have configuration analysis. Or you can always trigger configuration analysis by clicking Analyze Now, this button here on the top right corner. You can also point the ESXi logs to be sent to your Runecast Analyzer. If you already have a syslog destination, then the Runecast Analyzer IP will just be added as a secondary destination. So if you already have login sites, Splunk or some Linux syslog, it's no problem to add the second destination. That will be Runecast. And you can easily do it from here. You just have to select the checkboxes next to each one of your ESXi hosts. And yeah, that's it. It will then send an API call to your hosts to configure the destination syslog configuration. Once the first analysis is completed, which shouldn't take more than 2 minutes, on the main dashboard, you will see populated information about the health of your environment. So how many critical, major, medium issues were detected, how many issues were found in the logs, in the configuration, level of security compliance, level of best practice adoption, and also historical view of the problems in your environment, especially if you were running Runecast Analyzer for some time. One thing that's important that I forgot to mention, since we'll be talking about ISO 27001, is going back to settings. It's not enabled by default. So by default, the VMware guidelines, so the security configuration guidelines by VMware, will be enabled to scan your environment. But all these security compliance standards, including ISO 27001, you just have to enable them from here. So just enable those that you need. So if you need only ISO, then you can just enable only ISO from here. All right, going back to the dashboard, you will also see the configuration issues by layer. Also here in the context menu, if you want to, here we're looking at the entire environment. So I have a bunch of vCenters connected, Horizon connection server, AWS accounts, NSXT, and Kubernetes as well. If I want to focus, for example, just on my Horizon connection server, I could select it here from the context, and I will see information only about the particular issues that are detected and associated with Horizon. So let's take a look at some of those. Like, for example, this one is VMSA that needs to be taken care of. So it's a security issue, which is highly critical. And in findings, you can always see what particular object is affected. In this case, it's the Horizon connection server, and its version is what the issue is. But in some cases, it could be some other objects, basically, that are part of your Horizon environment as well. Let's just filter out not just critical, but also major issues. And we can see, for example, this is related to a best practice. And in findings, we could see that the VDI desktops, pretty much that, or the virtual machines, which are configured in a way that is not a best practice, in this case with the VMXNet3 driver, and also some particular this vCenter VM particularly is configured with a driver which is not VMXNet3. So because the best practice is to configure with VMXNet3. There are many other best practices or issues that are coming from knowledge base. Like, for example, this one is coming from the VMware knowledge base. That's why it's marked here as a KB. The issue that could happen is Windows guest operating system is crashing with some particular error message. And in this case, you can see which particular virtual machine or VDI desktop has a Windows 10 operating system. And also, based on this knowledge-based article, it doesn't have, it has a VMware Tools version which is prior to version 10.3. So this issue can actually happen because you have VMware Tools before version 10.3 and also a Windows 10 operating system. So again, some of the rules are coming from the knowledge base, some are coming just from standard best practices for Horizon, and all of this is being updated on regular basis. Here in the historical graph, you can also click in any point in time to see what kind of issues your environment had. Then the table underneath will be updated automatically. You can also compare the results between two different configuration scans. So by clicking this button here, compare with previous result, I can see what kind of new issues were detected between the two different scans on which objects. Or maybe if you resolved some issue, this will show here as well. Basically, it's showing the change log between the two different configuration scans, which is really useful because you can really keep track of your configuration. You can see when maybe things got worse, or as you are solving things, you can see how you're reducing risk in your environment. All right, let's jump also to, and by the way, this is a really useful view, the all issues view. I'm actually going to spend a little bit more time on this one, but what I want to look at right now or pay attention to is ISO 27001. First of all, maybe I would want to look at just vSphere and maybe NSXV. So you can select the products from here that I'm seeing now all the issues and history of all the issues that are related to vSphere and NSXV. But now I want to look at only ISO 27000 issues. So this will give me a current state and historical view of my security compliance posture of vSphere and NSXV against ISO 27001. And if I expand any of the detected incompliances, I can see very importantly which ISO controls this particular technical check relates to. So to the policy on the use of cryptographic controls and key management. I can see more the description of the particular check, and in findings, I can see which, in this case, ESXi hosts and which values are in compliance with this particular security control. So we have all that information out of the box here. And there's one more view under security compliance where you can also see very nice details about ISO 27001. You have the table with all the controls and all the checks. Those that are properly configured will show as green. Those where there's at least one object which is incompliant will show as red and fail. I will just select product vSphere in this case, just because I see here AWS as well. As you can see now here, there's also a column ISO controls. So this is also very easy to export in PDF, in CSV. You can decide to have a summary report, which will look like this one here, or you can also include all the affected objects as well, which will generate a pretty big report. Maybe I can trigger it right now, but it will take probably 30 seconds to a minute to be generated. But in any case, hopefully, I mean, the first time you run this, you might have some incompatibilities, incompliances. But if you spend a bit of time to mitigate them, hopefully you'll be able to continue to maintain everything in green. Let me see here. Yeah, in ISO controls, you can also select some particular ISO controls if you're interested to look at, well, just some of them. Let's say here we have vSphere selected only. And also, if you want to look at only fail or configured, then you can do it also from here. All right, while we're waiting for the report to be completed also, it's completed actually. Just wanted to quickly show how it looks like. I selected the detailed report, so yeah, it's pretty detailed, and remember you could have that also in a spreadsheet. So you could easily send it to the security department or to an auditor if needed. If you, by the way, have a reason why a particular incompliance is there, you can always add a note with justification. So this, or maybe you could say that change is scheduled for, I don't know, Tuesday next week. You can do that, and this will appear not only in the interface, but also all of the reports that you generate will also include these annotations. You have an option also to filter out. For example, if you have part of your environment that doesn't need to be ISO compliant, then you could just click ignore and filter out this particular check from any portion of your environment. So you can have quite nice level of customization. Another thing, a really popular feature that we have, I wanted to show you, and that's something that Nutino and many other customers benefited from, is the hardware compatibility analysis. And it works in a very simple way. If your server is green, everything's fine. If there is a red showing up, you can click on it and dig a bit deeper to see where exactly the problem is. And in this particular case, we see that thankfully the server model and everything is compatible with the ESXi release. So it's not such a huge issue. It's something that can be solved without changing your hardware. You just need to update your BIOS, because the particular BIOS which you currently have is not compatible according to the VMware HCL. And also we see in IO devices, there's one IO device which has driver and firmware combination which is not compatible. So you need to either update the firmware or the driver. And here you have the combinations that are officially compatible based on the VMware HCL. This is the current state of your environment, but if you choose to, or you're planning an upgrade, you could just select from the drop-down list here with the target ESXi version, and you can simulate an upgrade. So this will show you the final results. Well, yeah, in this case, there's quite a few things to pay attention to. For example, if I decide to upgrade, I have to be cautious of the fact that for this particular IO device, the firmware is not compatible. So with the upgrade, I have to be mindful that I need to update the firmware also of this IO device. Luckily, I don't have to change the IO device itself because it's compatible. And also I have to be mindful of updating the BIOS of my server as well. All right, I think we are almost on top of the half an hour that we had. Maybe just one more thing I wanted to show you here is that another level of flexibility you have with all the rules that are in Runecast Analyzer is you can create your own custom profiles. So basically, you can choose from any of the 2,800 rules that Runecast Analyzer currently has. You can click copy to a custom profile, change the severity, change the title, add some notes, and put it in a particular profile that you can create yourself as well. And from that moment on, Runecast Analyzer will start treating the profile that you've created and all the rules that you have copied and customized as if they were there out of the box. So it will keep all the history about them, and you can report on them as well. So if you have some internal policy, either best practice policy or security compliance policy in your organization, you can easily replicate it here and automate the reports against it in Runecast Analyzer. All right. I think these are some of the, maybe just a few quick mentions. Some of the security compliance remediation you can also do automatically. With Runecast Analyzer, we also developed a plugin for vRealize Orchestrator that comes with out-of-the-box workflow that's called Secure vSphere, which you can simply run, point it to a Runecast Analyzer instance. It will leverage the Runecast Analyzer REST API to collect information about affected objects and security incompliances. And then you can simply choose those that you want to remediate, and it will basically do it automatically for you. So this is something that can save you quite some time, especially if you have a large environment and you have to remediate a lot of security incompliances on your virtual machines or hosts or port groups. So the VRO plugin of Runecast Analyzer will help you save time by doing the remediation. And yeah, the last thing to mention is that we also have a vCenter Web Client plugin. So all the information that you see here in the Runecast Analyzer reports, basically, well, a lot of it anyway, you can see directly in your vSphere web client once you install the Runecast plugin for your web client. Okay, I can, in the meantime, also start demonstrating that, but I just want to maybe give the word to Sven, if you would like to also say a few words, because I just wanted to give you really a quick overview of Runecast Analyzer, but as mentioned before, all of you on the call, you can, if you'd like, explore it yourself by just either downloading it or going to demo.runecast.com and playing with the interface.
Yeah, hello, here's Ollie. I'm taking over for Sven.
Okay. Yeah,
and yeah, I want to ask our participants if there are any questions yet. You can also ask them in German. I would translate them to Stan so you can get your answer.
Mm-hmm.
So you would need to unmute, of course. Or
okay.
type it in the chat.
Sure. Yeah. Just let me know if anybody needs to be unmuted. I guess either myself or Emil probably can do that.
Yeah, there's a raise your hand symbol you could use if you want to say something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We don't have a question,
unmuted.
but feedback. Awesome tool by Ivan. Thank you very much. Yeah, so yeah, feel free to ask any questions. It was really quick, brief overview. So if you would like me to dive into any specific functionalities, I'll be happy to do that. In the meantime, I just wanted to show you also how the plugin for the vSphere web client looks like. So this is, once you install it, it really seamlessly integrates with your interface. So if you click on any host, virtual machine, port group, data store, in the summary tab, you'll have a new widget called Runecast Analyzer. And if you go to monitor, there is a Runecast Analyzer section where you pretty much have the all the issues coming from Runecast Analyzer. So you don't have to log into the Runecast Analyzer interface. You can directly see them here. Security as well. I can choose, for example, just BSI. Yeah, and I will see for that particular ESXi host if I have any BSI incompliances. I can see them easily here as well. Ivan is saying that NSX is interesting subject to check out. Yes, definitely. And by the way, just last week, we also released support for NSXT. Until now, we had support for NSXV, but since NSXT is strategic for VMware and we received more and more demand from our customers, we now added the support for NSXT as well. Okay, I think there are, I suppose, no more questions, but certainly if any questions come up, feel free to contact our partners from SJT, or of course, you could also contact us at innovate@runecast.com. And again, this is recorded, so we'll send the recording after the call. So if you'd like to share it with your colleagues or anybody else, you're most welcome to do that.
Hi, here's
hello.
Frank. Thanks very much for the information from my side.
Yeah, here's Oliver again, and we promised a little surprise at the end of the webcast, and that is that you all participants will receive a 10-day full license for Runecast, so you can get a good overview what Runecast can do for you and how it helps you to observe your vSphere environment and find all the issues that might get a pain in the butt at some day, so to speak. Yeah, you will get that. And as you see on the slide, you can also reach us with the email address runecast@sjt-consulting.de. The 14-day trial you can also use, but as I said, you get a full license for 10 days. So that's pretty useful. Please make use of it. You won't regret it, I promise.
I promise as well. Great,
yeah.
thank you very much. Yeah, make sure you use this 10 days. Yeah, the 14-day trial is limited. It doesn't show all the issues, but with that 10 days license you'll receive, you'll reveal all the issues in your environment. So yeah, I definitely agree. All right, thanks very much.
If you're not yet registered at the Runecast website, there's a link. Maybe Stan, you can show it, the SJT link for registering.
I don't believe I have it, but maybe if you could remind me.
I'll try to get it.
Yeah. Or if you could paste it in,
send it out via email.
Okay.
Yeah, we will send it out later on per email, so all of the panelists can use this link to get the 10-day trial.
Okay, sounds good.
Great. Thank you very much for all the time of all of you. And with this, I would say have a great day. Stay healthy in the strange times, and we hear us hopefully soon.
Okay, thank you. Was a great overview, and the same for all of us.
And thank you for the good presentation.
Bye.
My pleasure.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.